You are watching WPTV.
Welcome back to the desk and welcome back to the Yankee Show Fest with one Met fan. With opening day less than a week away, we have a lovely MLB crew consisting of Anthony, Jimmy, Antonio, and Steve. Gentlemen, baseball is back after a long lockout, winter, spring. We got some baseball, but with the lockout, right after the lockout happened, so many different moves and trades that went down in the MLB, and love to see it. So, Steve, we're going to start with you. Who had the best offseason in the MLB?
It hurts me to say this because they're in my division with my New York Mets, but the Atlanta Braves did first baseman Matt Olson, 8-year contract, Colin McHugh, a 2-year contract, Kenley Jansen to bolster up that bullpen down in Atlanta. You know, you had some pieces leave, but they replaced them right back. Freeman's gone, Matt Olson's in there now. So there's still a team to watch out for.
Mike Soroka's going to come back, and that's going to be a deadly arm starting. So, and their pitching rotation is what got them the win of the World Series last year. Antonio?
I got the Minnesota Twins. Surprisingly, they got Carlos Correa out of nowhere. They made a trade with my team, the New York Yankees, for Gary Sanchez and Urshela, and they got Sonny Gray. And with the trade with the Yankees, they cut off $50 million of the Josh Donaldson contract.
Yeah, and that's how they were able to get Correa. And Correa's deal is kind of weird. He's a 3-year deal.
3 year, like $130 million.
130, and there's opt-outs after each year. So we're going to see if he stays there. But, Jimmy, who do you think had the best offseason?
You know, it pains me to say, Mulder is the Met fan. I'm going to take the Mets. You know, you bring in Starling Marte, Max Scherzer gets a whopping new deal. It's pretty,
$43 million.
It's pretty amazing what the mentality of an owner will do with her state of franchise. The Mets went from irrelevant to relevant pretty quickly. DeGrom, you can hope shoulder injury possibly start opening day, but they made a lot of new acquisitions. Eduardo Escobar can fill in a role. The DH will really help them.
Marcana, there's a lot of moves they made.
You know, Steve Cohen talked about potentially contending in the first few years of becoming owner. With these moves, they can do that.
Anthony?
Money, 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 money. Texas Rangers spent a record for most money spent in offseason. They dished out $556 million, so I'm going with the Rangers. They got Marcus Semien, they got Corey Seager, they got John Gray. They also got Mitch Garver in a trade with the Twins, which is a really solid underrated pickup. He is a very good catcher.
I think that one's going to fly under the radar. And you got to think about that lineup now. You got to do Garver, you got to go through Semien, and you got to go through Seager. So very interesting, and I love all those moves. I love all those picks as well. And speaking of some of those players, the Oakland Athletics, who were in contention, it seemed like, for the past 5 years to be at least a playoff team or a wild card team. They shipped off all their best players, like you mentioned, Matt Olson. Matt Chapman is now playing with the Tampa Bay Blue Jays, And a lot of people are saying Sean Manaea is probably going to be gone, and Frankie Montas too. Jimmy, do you see both of these guys leaving, and how quickly do you see it being done?
I would have thought it already happened by now. You see Matt Olson, Matt Chapman walk out the door. We'll look at Frankie Montas, Sean Manaea, how they stand up against each other. Two great pitchers in Oakland. 13-9 record for Montas, 11-10 Manaea, both under sub-4 ERA, and both basically 180 innings for both of them, both essentially hovering around 200 strikeouts. And Manaea especially keeps the walks down. Players can hit for more power against Manaea. Montas a little bit more electric. But both players still fairly young in the primes of their pitching career. They can really help a contender. I'd love to see the Yankees go after them, really, especially with Severino being a question mark. Both these players in Oakland, they're not looking to contend. I don't know why they're still there.
Steve?
Yeah, and you said it, they're not looking to contend. I have written down right here, both players will be gone before July 4th, and I think it might be even earlier than that. You're not contending. These two guys could be the reason you make a run into the playoffs. I don't think they're going to be in Oakland much longer.
Anthony?
Yeah, I mean, as the Oakland A's continue to alienate their entire fan base, tripping off their best players, even though they're 2 pieces away from contending because they don't want to spend money. But that's not my business. No, I really like both of these arms. I mean, like you said, Steve, 2 contenders are going to go after them. They're both very solid, very electric arms. And they're not going to be in Oakland much longer. Like, I could see the Yankees, I could see the Twins, I could see any other contender really making a move for them.
I'd see any team who wouldn't take 2 of those pitchers. Look at the ERAs, especially Montas, and he had 207 strikeouts last year.
I think they're both gone by the second month of the season. I think Oakland, they're asking for a lot right now. I think they're going to realize how bad they actually are, and they're going to lower the price for them players.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting, gentlemen, to see what happens there. Keeping it in the AL, I think the best division in baseball consistently, other than the NL West, is the AL East. And other than the Orioles, I'll talk about them, but the rest of the 4 teams, they can realistically all win the division. So, Anthony, we're going to start with you. Who do you think is going to take the crown in the AL East this year? It's a loaded one.
Samory, this hurts my heart. we're gonna take a look at the Red Sox. So they are my pick to
I
come
might
out
have
of
to
the
cut
AL
you off
East.
as a Yankee fan for that.
I have to, man. I'm sorry, man. It's what the heart tells me. It's not what the heart tells you. It's what the brain tells me. They were 92-70 last year. Finished second in the division. They hit 260 as a team, 219 home runs. They added, and they didn't really lose anyone big. I mean, they did lose Chris Sale to injury, but he'll be back later this year. They also add Trevor Story, and he's going to kill the ball at Fenway. You line up that infield, Devers, Story, Bogarts, Dahlbeck at first. That is so powerful, so gross. You still have J.D. Martinez there. This team is going to be very disgusting and very nasty in the AL East.
Scary. I can't lie. It's a little scary. Jimmy.
You know, I'm going to talk about power. The Toronto Blue Jays, with their acquisitions and moves, are going to have one of the most powerful off seasons and rosters in all baseball. I look for them to take the next step up and win the AL East. Vlad Jr.'s there, saw 90 wins last season, 266 average. They're going to hit for power, 262 home runs, and 3.9 ERA. They got Gausman. They brought in Yusei Kikuchi, Jose Barrios. They added last year. This is a revamped roster, and you know, with the vaccine mandate going to Toronto, they might have a home field advantage that some other teams don't.
That's a good point there, Jimmy. Antonio.
I'm going to take the best team in New York, the New York Yankees. So last year, they were 92-70. They their average was 374 as ERA. They hit about 200 home runs. I think Cole this year is going to come out after that rough start. He's going to have a Cy Young performance this year. They still got Judge, Stan, the two-headed monsters. And we got Gallo, I think, is going to have a better year this year.
Steve, close us out.
Yeah, it took a lot in me not to pick the Baltimore Orioles, but I'm going to go with the Tampa Bay
Stop
Rays.
playing games here, sir.
I'm going to go with the Tampa Bay Rays, who won 100 games last season, an OPS of 749, 222 home runs, 367 ERA, and a whip of 1.17. You have Shane Baz, G-Man Choi. I mean, just those two names alone. And then the only horrible part is all these guys have to play against each other all year.
And they're going to all be going at each other hard. Maybe except the Orioles, get some free games. But don't sleep on the Orioles, though. I do expect Garrett Cole and the Yankees to bounce back. But I do think with the playoff rules now, I think we see 4 teams possibly making the playoffs from this division. And it's possible. It's very possible. And now, we saw a lot of teams last year, like the Blue Jays. They popped out last year. They had a special season. They almost made the playoffs. But with so many teams who may be contenders this year, Antonio, we're going to go to you. Who do you think the dark horse contender in the MLB will be this year?
I'm going to take the Phillies. Everyone's talking about the Mets this year, the Braves, who they just won the World Series. But they got 2 more bats. They got Castellanos and Kyle Schwarber. Plus, with Harper, J.D. Realmuto, and Hoskins. And they have Nola as a starting pitcher. I think they're going to surprise people this year. They're going to hit the ball crazy. They might hit the most home runs this year, possibly.
And Zach Wheeler, who had a strong season last year as well. Anthony?
Jace Tingler's gone. Out of San Diego, give me the Slam Diego Padres popping bottles when I heard that news. This team's going to be very good this year. They got Mike Clevenger coming back. I know Tatis is going to be gone for a little while, I understand that. But they got Hosmer, they got Myers, they still have Machado, and they're even going after Brian Reynolds. If they get him, this is a powerhouse team. I know everyone looks at the Dodgers. They are great, but don't sleep on the Padres.
Craig Kimbrell today, too.
They just got Craig Kimbrell. Don't sleep on the Padres, though. Dodgers are going to be great. Padres can be very good, too.
Steve?
Yeah, give me the team that spends a lot of money and doesn't see too many results, but I think this year that's going to change. The Anaheim Angels, Shohei Ohtani on the mound in the box gets the job done. They got Kurt Suzuki behind the plate on a contract, Matt Duffy as well, and of course you have the animal in center field, Jersey boy Mike Trout out there. So, and they're having a solid spring, 8-4. So I think they might be able to get something done in California this year.
Jimmy?
I'm going to keep it in the AL West. I'm going to move over to the Seattle Mariners. You saw them in the offseason. They make the move to bring in Robbie Ray. Got Adam Frazier on a discount because he did not perform very well in San Diego. Got young outfielders, Julio Rodriguez. Kelenick's going to look to take a step up. In a division that's very winnable with the Rangers and Angels. Usually don't always do that well lately. And the Astros lost Correa. Look for the Mariners to take that next step up.
It's going to be very interesting, gentlemen. And I know we can't wait for baseball next Thursday. Not too long. And we thought the lockout might have cut things out.
And you know what isn't cutting things out, Samory?
What's that?
It's a very special day today here on the desk, everyone. It is Samory Rose's 22nd birthday. It is April 1st. He is turning 22. Everybody.
Wow. Thank you.
So from everyone here on the desk,
Thank you, Jess.
can we get a quick 1, 2, 3? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Samory. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, gentlemen. Well, don't forget to follow us at SportsSWP on Twitter and Instagram for updates and more. Join us next week as we will step into the circle with the William Patterson softball team and also step into the octagon with the UFC crew for the first time ever Also, we're going to close out the regular season and preview the play-in tournament with the NBA crew. We'd like to give a special shout out to all the crew, all these guys up here, and a big shout out to the tall man, Al Clarke. From Studio B in Hamilton Hall, I'm Samory Rose. We'll see you guys next week.